Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are once again checking out Wildgate. This is the squad-based competitive multiplayer shooter set in space. Has you flying ships around to various points of interest, killing PvE enemies, collecting loot, getting stronger, and then attempting to crush your opposition, which consists of 4 other teams of 4 players. Now, I made a video about this a few months ago after playing an early preview, and it has since officially now released, launching this past week on July 22nd. Today I'm going to be giving you an updated look. This video is sponsored. The folks over at Dreamhaven wanted me to let you all know that the game is now officially live and share with you some of my updated thoughts as well as just an overview of the game. So here's the plan for today's video. We're going to start off by going over all of the basics. Essentially, I'll tell you what Wildgate is, explaining the core game loop, features, and mechanics. Then we will showcase a couple of matches in action because I think the game is best explained that way just by seeing what it looks like. And then finally, I will give you some of my updated thoughts, what I like about it, what I would like to see improved, as well as their future plans for the title. If you happen to like what you see, we of course do have links in the description below. With all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right in. So to start things out, what is Wildgate? Well, as mentioned, this is a PvP game at its core with some elements of PvE and mid-match power progression, which is all done in the service of giving your team the best shot of success against the other teams in each of the games that you play. So here's how the whole thing looks. You start off by selecting a character as well as a loadout. Now, depending on your preferred playstyle, there are a lot of different combos available here. If you want to stick back on your ship, repairing, piloting, and shooting the cannons, there are different characters and loadouts which would work well for that. Similarly, there are ones that are good for boarding enemy ships, for clearing points of interest, for exploring space and gathering fuel and resources. But all sorts of combos between the character, the weapons you pick, and the equipment that you select are going to tailor to the different things that you might want to do in a match. So you've selected your character and your loadout, you then queue into a match, at which point you are teamed up with 3 other players. Of course, you could also just form a group of friends or whatever and go in groups of 2, 3, or 4. But if you're playing solo, you queue in, you match with your other people. Your squad is then loaded into a hangar, which is the lobby, pre-match lobby, where you're going to see the 4 other teams you'll be competing against. And here you can take a look at their ships, the characters they're playing, as well as the modifiers of the match. Beyond the base core of the game, there's different modifiers which will help mix things up a bit. Now, after about a minute, the game begins. At this point, you are going to spawn into the game's map somewhere near the outer edge and right next to an easy point of interest. Now, the points of interest in this game, they vary from one to the next. There are quite a few different types of these, but the objective is pretty much always the same. Go into the POI, clear out any PvE enemies that are present, and then complete the requested tasks. Doing so will then unlock the loot room. This room contains a random assortment of upgrades for your ship. We've got things like better weapons to attach to your different weapon positions. There are enhancement mods increasing the defensive, offensive, and maneuverability capabilities of your ship. Various useful tools for your characters, as well as ammunition, which is used to shoot the weapons on your ship. Now, after you've cleared the first point of interest and placed all of the goodies from the loot room on your ship, you then fly to the next one where you rinse and repeat. Go in, kill the PvE, do whatever the objective is, collect the loot, move on, etc. In the process, you're also going to want to be keeping an eye out for 2 other important resources, that is ice and fuel. This is used for healing and boosting your ship respectively, and they're found floating out in space at all sorts of locations, basically everywhere around the map. There's also some environmental hazards you want to be aware of. There are things like leeches that will attach to your ship and steal your fuel. There are enemy PvE turrets which will shoot your ship, or things like cosmic storms and giant fireballs just floating in space that damage your ship if you fly through them. And then of course there are other players, the 4 other teams. The entire time that you're going around doing all of the aforementioned activities, fueling and upgrading your ship, the 4 other teams of 4 players are in their ships doing the exact same thing, and then at any point during a match, a fight could and will break out. Sometimes this will happen after 15 minutes of easy breezy point of interest clearing. Other times you might get into a fight with another ship before even leaving the first point of interest. It varies quite a lot from game to game, depending on how closely you spawn to the other players, how aggressively those players went searching for ships, or if you want to be on the aggressive front and go looking for ships before clearing points of interest. Although I probably wouldn't advise that, because if you're flying your ship around not clearing points of interest and not upgrading your ship while those other ships are clearing 1, 2, or 3 points of interest, by the time you get to them, you could be at a severe disadvantage. They could have a lot of good upgrades for their ship's defenses, ammunition coming back in, better weapons, more importantly, and that could put you at a big disadvantage in the fight. So general rule of thumb, focus on clearing the points of interest and get as much high valuable loot as fast as possible. But the main point is that yes, at its core, this is a full-blown team-based competitive PvP game. All of the other stuff, it exists, there is PvE, but it is in service of giving your team the edge when the PvP fights inevitably occur. Now there are 2 win conditions that you're working towards. Firstly, you could destroy all of the other ships. If you are the last ship standing, you win the game. And then secondly, you could find what is called the artifact, which is located at 1 point of interest on every single map. The team that finds it, grabs it, and escapes through the Wildgate with it could win the game just by doing that alone. You could literally not shoot a single other ship. If you get the artifact, go through the Wildgate, you win, just like that. Now, the key caveat though is that the Wildgate doesn't open and isn't available right away. It takes some 15 or 20 so minutes before the Wildgate opens. So if you get the artifact, all you're really doing is putting your ship at a bit of a disadvantage, or rather at least putting a target on your back, because whenever the Wildgate is found, whoever is carrying it is marked for all of the other players on the map until the item gets dropped. So, and yeah, that's basically the game. That is essentially the gist of it. Now, there are a lot more fine details and things to consider, such as the different characters and equipment loadouts, the various types of points of interest, which come in varying difficulties and equivalent rewards. The harder that is, the better the rewards you can potentially get. There are the 4 different ship types, which each come with their own strengths and weaknesses between their offenses, their defenses, and their maneuverability. And then there's the game's progression system and unlocks, which simply put, every single character has their own progression track. The first few ones of those have actual item, character, and or ship unlocks. The rest of them are all just entirely cosmetic. But I went over all of that in fairly thorough detail in our last video, so if you want some more information on those various aspects, go ahead and check that one out as well. All of that aside, I do think Wildgate is best showcased by just seeing the game in action. So what I want to do now is take you through a couple of matches, edited down to just the highlights, but hopefully this is going to give you a real clear idea of what Wildgate is like. Like, what is it like playing this game? Going to start with a solo match and then go into one where I played with a full team of a full squad of players. But here you go. Here is Wildgate in action. Alrighty, get this thing a little closer to the entrance here. How many ships in the match? 5 teams. 5 teams of 4. I think there are leeches on our ship right now. Get off my ship. Get off my ship. Does this beam not work on you? It does. One of the ships just got destroyed. That's hilarious. Did the whole team quit? Like, how did that happen? I think there are more leeches on our ship. I hear them. There's one. I'll grab that fuel too. Where are the probes? There we go. This is a different ship, so it's like completely different location of things. There's the Wildgate. There's fuel. We're gonna go for this POI. Okay. There's the Wildgate already scanned. Oh, we're at a POI. Yo, I'm trying to heal you. Okay, let's see. We got passive turn boost. Immune to Cosmic Storm. Yes. We got destroyed by one of those in another game. So let's get the immunity. Gain ship ammo over time. Oh my god. That is so, just literally just passively regaining ship ammo. Look at that. Look at that. Look at it go. That's so good. All right. Where are we going, team? Is that another POI right there that we've not done? Yeah, right there. Don't die on moment. Are they eyeing us? I can't really tell. Are they flying into the rocks? What are they doing? They're luring you into a trap. Might be. I'm gonna put the shields up and let me check. Let me scout for them because they were close. There's 4 of 5 teams left. Yeah, I don't see them anymore. Let's go somewhere else. It's another POI over here. We have 25 boosts. Oh, someone just picked it up. How fun is the game right now? If you like team-based games, it seems well made. It is definitely, it requires a team. Now you of course can solo queue. I've been soloing the past few hours. Like, you have to have your team working together to really be successful and win. It's much more like a lobby-based Sea of Thieves, but in space. And then obviously there's other games that you could compare it to that are very, very similar, like other space team-based games, like Jump Ship. But Jump Ship is PvE focused, whereas this game has some PvE, but in service of powering yourself up for the PvP. The PvP is really the main Ah, I see. Okay. They want to go for the third party. I don't really want to waste our boost. We have 37. I can do a couple. Okay, there's one ship, and they're chasing another ship, so we're gonna go behind them. So if we can get behind them and just like once we get close, unload with our cannons, that'll be the play. They're approaching here. One nice thing you can do is like, so say an enemy team is running away, you can get on their ship and hit the brakes to basically stop them in their tracks. Like there's a brake button right here where you can grab the controls and like you can fly their ship into some shit. Like there's all sorts of things you can do. No, don't shoot till we're close, dude. Oh my God. Just totally give away our approach. Okay. Once we get close and they start firing back, I'm gonna drop our shields. But you want to keep your shields down for max boost. And now we'll put shields up. They are healing it. Just gonna keep approaching from straight on. And I will heal. Where's the other ship? I really want to know where it is. Okay, it's too far to our left. We're good. We're gonna get down. They're using a scatter gun. I don't know what that shock is that's on our ship right now. I'm gonna broadside them. We've got cannons from all sides. Got him. Back in. Turn this ship around. Where's theirs? Right there. Gonna go up a little bit. Oh, we've got the laser beam on our ship. Oh my God. So I'm gonna ram this into their ship. It does a lot of damage. This laser should be chewing through their shields as soon as we get it lined up. Chewing through their shields. Just obliterating their ship. Just chew. Chew. Keep chewing. Keep chewing. Keep chewing through. Keep chewing through. Keep chewing. Keep chewing. Bye-bye, ship. Now we'll take their loot. Grab their ship core, which will make us stronger. See you later, loser. GG. So we take the ship core, and this gives our ship more health. We deposit it at a module spot. Oh, there's one right here. Okay. This laser beam, God tier. It was God tier the last time I played. That's a scatter cannon. Oh, we actually have a bunch of good guns. We have a bunch of good guns already. That was good. That was good. And I'll get back onto flying if they don't want to. Totally fine by me. All right, we are gonna go for the artifact. How many ships are there left? Okay, there's 2 other ships. Oh, 2 enemy ships. They're nowhere near each other. Oh, I see what he's saying. I'm gonna stealthily back up. They want a third party, and I'm all there for it. Big Ship Energy. The name of that ship is Big Ship Energy. We have sniper cannons. I should see where they are. Plasma beam. Short range. Sniper. MT main turret front. Okay. So I want to keep the front lined up. All right. We are getting in range. Time to third party. This is probably the best solo lobby that I've had so far. Wow. They are getting blasted. Okay, we're gonna hook it to the right a little bit. I don't want to get hit by that guy too much, but I want to keep my snipers in line of sight. Absolutely obliterated. I think I want to slow down for these guys right close to us. Back it up so we can snipe these guys now. They're gonna try to line of sight us. Dude, this is going well. Back it up, back it up, back it up. Lower it a little bit. There we go. All right, we're gonna chase. We kind of want to keep a distance though, because we've got really strong ranged weapons. So I actually don't want to be on top of them. Okay, they're booking it, so we'll just keep chasing. Did they shoot the guy in the air? Yeah, you can use your ship guns to shoot approaching players. You can. Just trying to keep our distance, to be honest with you. Because again, our guns are really good from a distance, so we're not looking to be on top of them. I'm down. Ships lined up, ships lined up. Where's the sniper? There we go. And we win. GG. Hey, you know what? You can do it. All right. A successful solo run. That was good, dude. Nice. Any chance for a soloers? I would say it's a struggle, but you can have victories. All right, so those were a couple of matches. Hopefully that gives you a good idea of what it's like playing this game. I think it does especially a good job like actually seeing a match play out, of showing you probably the best part of Wildgate, which is all of the crazy hecticness that can happen, especially when you get into the PvP aspect of it. And with all of that done, let's go ahead and move on to my thoughts with the pros and the cons, starting with the pros. For starters, flat out, I just think this game is clearly very high quality. It's exceptionally well made. Of all of the games that I ever heard were made by an ex-Blizzard team, this is the one that feels most like something that could literally just have the Blizzard label slapped onto it. I'm talking about the visuals, the animations, the audio cues, the personality of the characters in the game world. It's just extremely high quality, very well made, feels great to play as well, which moves me into the next thing. The gunplay, I think, is very well done. Exceptional feedback, audio and visual cues, animations. When it comes to shooting the guns, they all feel great. This even applies to the guns that are mounted to your ship. Shooting those feel really good as well. And speaking of ships, the ship fights are just very, very fun. The chaos that ensues with these. People often reference the naval ship combat in Sea of Thieves, and I do think that's a good comparison. It's fitting. You're spinning a lot of plates. There are constant fires to put out. It is hectic. It is crazy. It is a lot of fun. There's just so much to consider all of the time. You've got flying your ship, the velocity that you're going at, whether you're going up or down, whether you want the shields down so you go faster, or shields up for more defenses. You've got the fact that you've got all of the different cannons to be mounted. Whenever your ship takes damage, there's all of the actual fires to put out, or repairing the various bits of equipment. There's not just engaging in, you're not like locked into one ship battle, you're maneuvering around the ships that you're fighting and trying to break through their shields and then hit them. And then there are other ships that can come in at any point, and then you have to decide, do I want to deal with this third party? Do I want to move away and get into a different position? And then there is the boarding and defending of ships. At any point, other players can come to your ship and try to board and try to steal your equipment or damage various things, or shoot players that are driving or mounting on the cannons, so you have to defend them. And then you have to consider, do I want to leave my ship and try to board an enemy ship? Spinning a lot of plates, it is hectic. There's a lot to be constantly considering and dealing with. Every single moment there's something you could or should be doing, and all of that brings a lot of fun. And I think that brings me into my next pro about this game. It feels just like a nice fresh spin on a competitive multiplayer game. This game often gets compared to stuff like Overwatch or Marvel Rivals, like it's a cooperative team-based game, and there is an element of heroes because each of the different characters have their own different perks that they come with. But really, the naval stuff, the flying the ship around as well, it adds a whole different layer to it. And that in the structure of these matches, right? You're playing matches, they last on average 20 to 60 minutes in my experience. And you go in, 5 teams, 4 players, all competing to be the last one standing or to escape with the artifact. And the ship combat combined with the great feeling first-person shooter action and the fact that there's PvE elements when you're clearing the points of interest, all of these things come together for what feels like a fresh spin on a competitive team-based game compared to just the basic objective-based hero shooters that are out there, right? So I've really enjoyed that. When it comes to the cons and things that I think could use some improvement, for starters, balance. It just seems like there's some balance issues when we're talking about the player guns, the cannons for your ships, and the mods. It's kind of all over the place. And what I mean by that is that there are just some things that seem clearly exponentially stronger than others. So with the ship upgrades, you got this one upgrade that gives your ship 30 additional HP, as well as has it automatically healing over time. That is exceptionally strong. Now, the caveat is that in my experience so far, that this is found in these ancient vaults. These vaults take a long time to clear. There's a lot of PvE enemies. There's bosses in there. They're quite difficult and it takes a long time. And that time could have been used clearing other smaller points of interest much more quickly and getting a lot of other upgrades. But going for this one upgrade, if you get it on your ship, 30 more health points is a lot. Automatically healing over time is also exceptionally strong. So that's really, really good. Or you've got things like this lava chainsaw mod, which you mount it on a hard point, as they're called. That's basically where the ship mods are attached to on your ship. It's this large laser chainsaw, lava chainsaw thing. And if you get that lined up on an enemy ship, you are chugging through their health bar very, very quickly. It's exceptionally strong. I've had a few games where we've had 2 of them on either side of the cockpit. So I just drive my ship right towards another enemy ship. And if we get within range, they're pretty much guaranteed decimated. Like, we have to severely screw up to lose if we get within range with that lava chainsaw. So same thing applies for some of the weapons. There definitely seem to be some player held weapons that are much stronger than others, and the ones that are mounted to the ships as well. Things like the sniper seems exceptionally strong. Some of those blue and yellow rarity guns that shoot various types of like plasma just absolutely melt and are clearly vastly superior to the base weapons that each ship starts with, to the point where if you don't have those weapon upgrades and an enemy ship does, it kind of feels impossible to win in a dogfight, at which point your only option is to either run away or pray that you can board and steal those items, because that is an option. It's just incredibly difficult. Point being, there's some things between the weapons and the mods and the weapons that go on the ship. There's things that are clearly outclassing others. So it seems like balance might need some more fine tuning. Also, solo queue, it seems like it can be pretty hit or miss. Now, I know this is a team-based game, but it's been my experience and it's my understanding that even in team-based games, a large, if not a vast majority of the player base tends to queue solo. Like, not everyone's going in every single game with a group of 2, 3, or 4 players pre-established. So when you're running in solo, it's a crapshoot in terms of what you're going to get. Now, I will add, though, it does seem like when queuing solo that the game looks to put you into a lobby with other teams who are full of players who also queued solo. In other words, not against pre-established teams. That does seem to be the case, because I will say, when I've played with a group of 2 of us or 3 or 4 of us, the matches have seemed harder. Like, it seems like we were going against more coordinated teams than when I play by myself and get put with a team of other random people. So if that's the case, that definitely helps even it out a little bit. But one thing that's definitely tough here is that, you know, it's always the case in team-based games that you rely on your teammates, but it seems especially true here that one person who wants to mess things up has a lot of avenues of doing so. It just takes one troll to completely ruin an entire game for your team. All sorts of things they can do. They can take control of the pilot seat and fly your ship away from objectives, which means you won't be able to collect all of the loot unless you fly it back. Or they can fly your ship into dangers, towards PvE turrets, into the asteroid fields or the lava things or the cosmic storms, which damage your ship. They can fly your ship out of the match. There are boundaries up and around all sides and at the bottom. You fly out of that, that's going to screw you over. Or they could do things like maybe you get a really good weapon. Any player on your team, if they want to troll, if they've got malicious intent, they can just go and pull it out and toss it out into space. Like, one of your teammates could just do that. So it's the case in all team-based games that you rely on your teammates. And if you've got a teammate dragging you down or even trying to ruin the match, they can mess things up. But I didn't feel as negatively impacted if I had someone doing that when I was, say, playing Overwatch. If there's someone on your team who really wants to screw with you, they could just make it so that there's no way you could win. Like, there's so much that they could do to really put you at not only a disadvantage, again, to literally make it impossible to win. And it just takes one of your teammates, one troll, to do that. So I found that a bit off-putting, unfortunately. And then the last con I'll add is I do really, really like this game, but I almost wish there was a PvE mode. The way they've managed to do this, where they mix the PvE with the core element of PvP, because yes, at its core, this is a PvP game, but the PvP is actually fleshed out well enough. Like, they've got enough interesting variety of PvE enemies and objective types that I would like to see that kind of more fleshed out, like that pushed further. So maybe that's something that comes in the future. Speaking of which, let's talk about the future plans now. So yes, as I mentioned, the game is currently available. You can pick it up for $30 on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. And they've already laid out a roadmap for their plans in the coming weeks and months. So for starters, they're gonna plan to have bi-weekly updates. This will include things like adding new points of interest to your games, additional artifact types, hard points, those are the ship upgrades, as well as different hazards for you to try to navigate around. And then they are gonna be doing the seasonal structure. So their plan for season number 1 will include a new prospector, which are the playable characters, new weapons and equipment, and adventure pass, which will coincide with that new prospector, as well as some new cosmetic unlocks. And then in season 2, all of the above, and they're also going to introduce their first new ship. And so long as the game does well and is successful, we presume they're going to continue with this cadence of updates each season. They also do intend on introducing new maps and game modes in the future. Keeping my fingers crossed that a PvE-oriented mode comes comes, because they've actually have like a fairly interesting fleshed out PvE here, and I think that they could expand upon it in a really interesting way. But that is pretty much it. That is a look at Wildgate. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. A little bit of a different structure. Again, I wanted to show you like a game in action. It's still cut for the highlights, but I think that does a really good job of showcasing the appeal of Wildgate and what I've enjoyed about it so far. Gotten off to a decent start, and we will see how the game does in the future. Keeping my fingers crossed, because I do genuinely, I talked about this in the initial video that I made a few months ago. I genuinely enjoy it. Like, it's very well made. I think there's a lot of promise with this game, and I hope it all pans out. But that does it for today. Thank you as always for watching, and thank you again to Dreamhaven for sponsoring today's video. And of course, yes, once more, thank you guys. Couldn't do it without you, so appreciate you. That's all for today though. I'll see you in the next one, all right? Take it easy.